We're going to go ahead and get started. I've asked Nicole today to take the reins. I think what's really amazing is that each of us have our own personality, flavor, experience, and the more we can each contribute to the meetings, the better. Nicole is a 101 mom out of Brevard who's done some pretty incredible things because she loves her kids so much and wants to see Florida do big and beautiful things. So, hi, Nicole.
Hi everyone. Stephanie and I were kind of talking about what we would like to talk about today. I think we're kind of winding down. We got less than a month away before the general election, and I feel like a lot of conversation right now isn't about not just, who's going to be on the ticket, but who's currently sitting in the seat already and what meetings have already started. I know that a lot of delegation meetings in different counties have already started, conversations are already being had. So I thought it was really important to maybe even take a moment to kind of acknowledge where we are currently and how we see ourselves moving forward after the general election. So I can tell you that, like, for example, here in Brevard County, we just got done doing a disability focused nonpartisan candidate forum event that, I'm pretty proud of, that we had really good attendance from candidates, incumbents and ones running alike. So a lot of great momentum moving forward. I know that Paul mentioned that he's getting ready to do some meetings, but in that same vein, I've been having a lot of meetings myself. Just first of all was setting up the event so you kind of talk to people and they know who you are, but then following up because we had questions that we focused in on specifically regarding disability issues that they wanted more information on. So that led to some really great conversations and just kind of opened that door, I hope, a little bit further. So I know that Paul mentioned that he had some great news. So I was going to let Paul talk for a minute and then we could come back. You're on mute, Paul.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't mean, I knew this as far as advocacy. I worked for an art for 18 years out in California. I have cerebral palsy myself, as you can tell by my voice. Um, and there's a lot of things that since moving to Florida from California, I ran a lot of issues when I got here that I knew about, but weren't as bad in California as they were here. And even before I heard about you guys, I was, I was trying to talk to different politicians and newscasters, whoever I could, to try and figure out how to get these things fixed. And I was really happy when I found your group because these guys are actually active legislators people. There's a rally up here in Bradenton. I can't remember the name. There's four candidates going to be there. Jan is one of them. Adrian DeVille or something like that. The guy Adrian I never heard back from. But the other three I've talked with on Facebook and emailed back and forth with all three of them. And the three other ones. And they're interested in our issues. I'll try to give some details. Now there's stuff that I know about the different because I've heard about the Medicaid waivers and stuff like that. You guys talk about all the time, but I've never been involved with that. I've been involved. Again, worked for ARC. I saw a lot of cases of abuse that very little was done about. When I got out here, something happened to me. I had tried 4 times to file an APS report, and the APS system matter basically don't work. And then I finally had somebody from APS come out about my case 2 weeks ago for the thing that happened 6 years ago. And the lady came out and said, yeah, the law don't matter. She said, you're right, but the law don't matter. I'm like, what? So I've been trying to get things like that fixed as well. but there's a lot of issues that I know about, and I want to help you guys with the stuff that I'm hearing you guys do. I need to learn more about so I can tell them. And I'm hoping you guys can educate me a lot more on that kind of thing. I heard it last time about the gap between there's people on Medicaid versus Medicare. I myself had that problem. I got kicked off of Medicaid 2 years ago when I switched from Medicaid SSI to SSDI. I probably got that. And then I get told by APD, oh, if you're on Medicaid, we don't deal with you. It's like, but I'm still technically developmentally disabled. What's up? And I heard you guys talking about that as well.
Oh, Paul, you're in the right spot. And like, oh
Mhm.
my goodness, this is it's an intimidating thing to say, hey, I'm gonna go meet with three politicians tomorrow if you let
Especially
it.
me. For me, this is totally not my bag. You saw what I do. I'm the IT guy. I'm the guy in the back corner setting up the email addresses, the servers, and stuff like that. And let everybody else play each other and go by myself. So this is totally not my bag, but I just got a lot to, I'm upset about. I want to get fixed.
Yeah, and you have a lot of experience that you can bring and wisdom. I mean, you moved here from California, and things are, you're right, very different in each state with
Which is bad in itself.
the waivers, right, which is a lot to take in. And I'll tell you, um, you're the most important person to be speaking with these politicians. You're going to have so much more information to give to them than you may even realize. So
About certain things. But like I said, when you guys talk about it, I've heard because, of course, when I worked for the ARC out there, we had 600 clients at that ARC. I did everything from IT, case management. I was in CCF with their day program for 14 years, and I was also a floater for like 6 years. Me, I went from day programming to supported employment to the behavior program. I did all those.
yeah, so leading expert, Paul, right there, you're going to give so much more information. And one of the things that when I first met with the legislator, I felt like exactly the same way. I don't know what to say or what to do or, you know, how complicated we make things. And what I found is when I met with our local rep, is that she didn't know about the issues I was an expert in. She may be the expert in understanding how to take my personal story and make it into like systemic change, but I am the expert to give her that information. So I like to go through uh, simple steps because that's how my brain works. I'm a simple girl. And I created this, I put it in the chat. I would like if you had any questions about like the intimidation process of making the appointment, learn from Paul, make the call, make the appointment, and it'll be easy from there because really there's just a few things that we need to know. We are not industry professionals, right? We're individuals, we're family members, we're the people that with the experience, and that is all we need to have. And it's the most important thing for us to be able to show legislators who don't live this life what it looks like, what we're walking through. Um, and the one thing last year when I created this, I sent it to actually I brought it to my meeting with Senator Pasadomo, and she's the one that added it says expert advice. She said absolutely this is what she would recommend if she could give this to every constituent. It doesn't even have to be disabilities. Whatever people come and speak with her, if you make the appointment online, the expert advice from the Senate president is to get to know those legislative aides that even more, well, I wouldn't, equally important to the legislator are their aides, because those people who take the emails, the phone calls, they're the ones doing the research. They're the gatekeeper, if you will. So when you get to your appointment, um, even though the reps and the senators you're speaking with are very important, so are the people in their office.
Yeah,
And that's something that if a lot of people get upset, like, hey, I made this appointment and they tossed me to the aide, that's a good thing,
yeah,
because the aides don't have crazy political schedules. They can spend the time to get the details where you're not feeling rushed. And that's something that, I can't emphasize enough. And then if possible, try to arrive if your appointments are in person, because a lot of our appointments are in Zoom now, which is cool too. Try to get there 10 minutes early, just because legislators have crazy amounts of scheduling things going on and you never know what's going on. You want to make sure that you have their attention. Um, and
Jeff.
and this sounds so simple that it that it can't be, but it is. That your role is to tell your story, share your experience, do what you can to maybe write down like the three main points that you want to discuss, just to help keep us all on track. Because these appointments are usually, if you're meeting with a legislator, anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes. It can be more, it can be less. Um, so you want to make sure you get your main points out, share your story, regardless of their answer. I've had a lot of positive experience with legislators, but not all of them. And some, that's a jolt when I can't remember what it was. I had asked somebody something specific, and the legislator looked at me and said, "No, we don't really do that here. Those are for states like in New York where they charge high taxes." And it was like, whoa, whoa, what did you just tell me, that you don't take care of the disabled? I'm gonna punch you in the face. But instead of doing that, I said thank you, thank you for your response. And I got that right out in my car. And then just like a couple months later, that same legislator came back to me and said, "Hey, I was thinking about what you were talking about. Oh, I know what it was. It was training for law enforcement. Training for law enforcement." And he was like, I think I know somebody that you can connect with. And so this guy who really had no intention of helping, and even in the moment, like totally ticked me off, just by saying thank you for your time, kept my thought trickled in his conversation somewhere, and he came back around. So I always like to say that no is not right now, or I'm not the person. Um, Always important to thank them for their time. It'll go a long way, regardless. But I would say, with the temperature of the state, with the incoming House Speaker, with the Senate President coming in, I think that everything we say to our legislators regarding developmental disabilities is going to have weight and merit, because Florida is listening. Um, and that's why it's really important. We do not have to be polished. We do not have to feel like we're doing anything special. We just need to share these stories. They need to know what's going on, because they don't know without us. Um, and then let's see, I'm just roughly going through the share your topic. Always ask if you can count on their support. That is the purpose, that you want them to give a commitment. Can we count on you to uh to help us, and can we connect again before legislation begins? Try to get a second point of contact with them. And then afterwards, send a thank you email. I always feel good when someone sends me a thank you email, and it does go a long way. So I know it seems intimidating, Paul, but you're like 90% of the battle done. This is so huge. I cannot wait to hear how it goes.
May I share something?
Of
The
course, yeah.
reason the reason I was able to get these, I emailed when I saw the rally, I emailed the info at the rally, and the person at the rally, eh, told them really, and all three people contacted me.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So they definitely want to hear from you.
Like I said, Jan- the one of my said she went to my Instagram page to look at the stuff on my page, and she wrote a subtext article on one of the big things I had on my Instagram. And the one I only got like a few things back from her. I can't remember his Instagram or just from her site. But yeah, we're supposed to meet, not just be there, actually meet. Then Jan, I can't remember her last name, but Jan, she's running for representative. Um, she held me and I contact her both by email and by Facebook. But I got this from the organizer.
That's
That's
incredible.
awesome.
And
Yeah.
that's, that like with what Nicole was doing too, with the Brevard form. These are innovative things that have not been done to engage with our legislators, and they're being so responsive. Like Nicole, you had you had a pretty good attendance, right?
Yeah, we were pretty shocked, I guess, because, and I don't know what it's like for other counties. Maybe everybody else can chime in, but from the schedule of forum events that we've had in Brevard, ours, I want to say ours was the most well attended by the candidates. So we had just this past week, there was supposed to be one done with Florida Today and Eastern Florida State University in conjunction with the League of Women Voters, and they had to cancel 2 out of the 3 days because the candidates either canceled or something happened, something came up. So it was, a lot of things are in flux right now. We're talking about the last month before the general election, but still, every single candidate that came in, they were excited to discuss the issues. They were wanting to follow up. They, wanted to keep talking. In fact, we said we wanted to do a save the date next October for a follow-up event. And they said, no, we don't want to wait that long. We want to keep talking. So I I take that as encouragement. I agree with Stephanie. I want to echo that. Like now I feel like now is our time. And, I really respect you, Paul, for taking that step. I understand, like it may not, I don't know if it comes across that way or not, because you don't know me, but I agree with you that I never wanted to be a person that is, walking in to talk with legislators. That intimidates me a lot.
People intimidate me because my
Yeah,
speech. I grew up being called all the bad words because of my speech. They didn't care that I took 4 semesters of calculus. All they heard my speech pattern.
right, right. And I see, and I empathize with that hugely. Um, it was never a desire for me, for sure. So I'm so proud of you. I'm applaud. It's like you can't hear it, but like seriously, if I just keep it going the rest
Yes.
of the meeting, Paul, oh my gosh, you took that step. That's a huge step. And I think you're
I
gonna
got
find
lucky.
that it gets easier as you do it, really.
Yeah, and they're lucky,
They are absolutely.
they're
In fact,
going to be so.
they're probably really excited. You may not know
Mhm.
this, but they're probably super excited to get your perspective because they're not going to have anyone they know like you. No one. And
Well,
there's not another Paul. So
that's sort of, that's what actually drives me. Most people, as you guys know just as well as I do, most people with developmental disabilities can't even talk or do it. And I'm the one that is that, but I can talk.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
And the
discount that. Yeah, it's
and
such a
who
huge
you're
thing.
representing, Paul.
Yeah.
I mean, this is so much more than you and me and Sandy and
Yeah,
Nicole and
exactly.
Kelly. Like what you're about to bring to for the state of Florida, just by sharing your honest truth is it's incredible. And we've seen it happen over and over and again with this group. And that is why this is our mission. Each of us, I'm not a government lover, like I never before this experience, I'd never engaged with politicians purposely, very purposely. And I'll tell you, I'm so glad that I have. Um, I haven't shared this in this group, but my mom
My, I have
is, oh, go ahead. All right. So my mom is a 51-year-old amputee. She lost her leg in a water skiing accident when she was 15, and uh is the biggest I don't know how to explain my mother. She's a lot of the reason I am who I am. She taught me advocacy uh with just by living her life, going to doctor's appointments all the time, dealing with inconsiderate folks who, if she had her prosthetic leg on, would say insensitive things about, well, you're not really handicapped. And my mom also has never engaged with the legislator before. Um, and around 11 o'clock the night before I had a meeting with our House representative, my mom sends me this email that she had just sent to her. So when you have the handicap placard that you hang from your window to park, you need to reapply for that every 4 years. Um, and
That's
your
that's stupid.
so that's my mom's opinion. It is stupid in itself. But my mom actually, the sun, it's stinking hot here in Florida. It broke her piece. So she went to the DMV after having a very frustrating day going from orthopedic prosthetic doctors, to say, hey, my handicap stick or placard is what she calls it, placard broke, and I need it to be replaced. And the DMV woman said, well, you'll need to go to your doctor and get approval for this. And she was like, no, no, no. It expires in 3 more years. I just got this. It's just broken because it's the sun. And they sent her away. And my mom, like, gosh, it's the coolest thing to see. Uh, Everybody be able to do this. She was able then to go speak to her representative, write an email and say, hey, this is my experience. Can we work on this? And it seems like a small issue, but if you think about it's not. And how many families would be affected in my and I told the representative, I was like, well, so you've met me and now you're gonna meet my mom. And she said, give me your contact information. I'm gonna contact so and so with Florida Department of Motor Vehicles, and well, we're going to start working on this. And like it's the neatest thing to see how many voices we have, how many stories, how many experiences. Like we're all in different places, stages, ages, diagnoses. Like there's so much room for opportunity, and Florida is listening. And so I say this with urgency because it's October 4th and delegates the general elections like what, 30 something days. I don't even know if we're in the 30s anymore, real soon. And what that means is that all the elected individuals will then start going on to committees, delegation meetings will be happening, and bills will be written. And once they go to Tallahassee, once they form their committees and go to Tallahassee, the laws are written for the year. So I say it with urgency. If you have not met with your legislator yet for next year for what's going on in your life right here now, it's not difficult. Uh, Send an email, make a phone call because they're listening, and now, like right now is the time to engage. So with that, it is kind of a loosey-goosey meeting today. I've been sick. I've had bronchitis and all sorts of things going on in my own world. So I'd like to hear from you all. Any questions or things going on? And Helly, I know, is joining us today, and he is from Collier, and I wanted to see if maybe you want to introduce yourself and he's brand new to our group here.
Hi, everybody. Nice to meet you. I'm Helly. Um, I have an 11-year-old. His name's Santiago, and yeah. Yeah, he's in the spectrum. He has a speech developmental delay as well. And he's part of the Medicaid waiver, um, part of APD as well. So yeah, I mean, through our coordinator, we got connected to Stephanie, and we've been talking about everything that's been happening in the county, which I think is very exciting because until I reached out to her, I honestly thought that this county really didn't care. There's really not. mean, it's really difficult to try to find resources unless you have a close knit and unless you have somebody that has the same story as you do. Because other than that, people are just completely clueless about what the world of living with in this special needs realm is about. And rightfully so, right? They don't really have to deal with, so they don't really have to acknowledge it or get to know about it. But it would be nice if they do. But I'm glad that there is this network, this support network that somebody like me can come and just ask questions, or share information as well, through the long road that my son and his mom have gone through. So it's nice to meet you, everybody.
Oh, we're so glad you're here.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Anybody else have any questions related to, maybe meeting with the legislator or experiences to share? This is an open, oh wait, I said I would do this. I'm gonna stop the recording so we could be on.
Also want to ask if maybe any media contacts as well.